Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Holub Project. This is an absolutely beautiful fall day. It's 66 degrees outside, and we're going to take a chance to work on Moo Moo and get her all ready for winter. So let me kind of walk you through the issue that we're having here. We've got our 2008 GMC Envoy, and the reason why we call her Moo Moo, let me start her up here for you, is, well, it moos. I don't know. We can try and figure out what it is. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll turn off the radio here. Don't want to get a copyright infringement for listening to TikTok radio or whatever it is. So let's toss her in gear and I'll show you the problems that I'm having. All right, I'm going to shut up so you can listen closely. All right, so the first thing we got going on is when you try and accelerate, we get this happening. We're mooing. What is it? Why are we mooing? Can't get any acceleration out of it whatsoever. Real pain in the butt. So we're going to go ahead and hit this little button here, turn off our traction control, and now we can go ahead and accelerate like normal. Ain't that something? But we come to a stop. We're still mooing. Everywhere moo moo. Here we moo, there we moo. So let's kind of get into the diagnostics of this as we drive past this golfing course here. Now, I tried to pull over on the side of the road and find a parking lot to record this, and every time you pull over, someone's right up your hiney and can't do anything. So let me get the scanner plugged in here, and we'll go ahead and walk through this mess. Okay, so here we are. We're approaching small town Iowa here. Speed limit is dropping to 25 miles an hour. Speedometer shows 40. I'm decelerating here. My scan tool under the ABS module, we're showing 30, 32, and we're dropping like we should be. Dropping like it's hot, dropping like it's hot. Everything's looking good. Everything matches up. The reason why I chose the ABS module here is because traction control and ABS kind of work hand in hand with one another. They're like a finely tuned marriage, I suppose you might say, until someone starts to act up, fall out of line, and then you get a message on your dash. I don't know. But let's take a look here. We're slowing down here. We got a stop sign coming up, and let's watch what these wheel speed sensors have to say. Did you notice that? What happened there? We got our moo. We're mooing away. Here we go, turning. All right, we'll do it again. We're going to slow down here going through town, decreasing. Did you catch that? Let's do it speeding up. Like we're seeing it here. You guys see it? We'll get out here to the shop. We got ourselves like a 30-minute drive to get out to the shop. I'd do this in the driveway and we'd walk through it together, but I can't bend my knee, work like I used to. Oh, hold on. Old Moo Moo there again. I think she has something to say. But anyway, knee's getting better. Had that repaired. Just a torn meniscus. I say just a, because thankfully it wasn't like an ACL or something. But let me drive on out here and we'll work on this thing together. All right, so knowing what we know, we can see that the left front wheel sensor is losing signal at 7 miles an hour or so and under, and it's not picking up signal until above that. So that kind of tells me that it's not the ABS module, because it's very infrequent, and I think it would do it all the time if it was the actual ABS module. So it leads me to the wheel speed sensor. Well, on these, you have a little metal shim that sits on top of the wheel bearing, and the reader, probably a Hall effect sensor, is reading those little titties that go by on the wheel bearing. So sometimes that metal shim will get rust jacked and just pull up just ever so slightly and ruin your day, which I think is what's happening to me. We're going to tear this wheel off real quick, and we're going to get the brake pads off, or the brake pad caliper, the brake pad caliper mount, and the wheel disc, and we're going to do some investigation. It'd be really nice if the wheel bearing was howling or something, so I didn't have to spend $178 on wheel bearing assembly, because the auto parts house didn't have the little lead that runs down there, and I don't think that would have fixed it anyway. So let's go ahead and kick this thing's butt. I'm getting my butt kicked by the other side. I just did a little pad slap on there to get me through winter, and we'll get this knocked out. So follow along and enjoy the music. All right, let me bring you in here, get you some light. This is a CarQuest brand. Whoa, there you go. You can see the badging right there. And evidently, I hope it's still under warranty. Yeah, here is the culprit right here. That's your vehicle speed sensor. And you can see it's riveted on the metal tab on this side, and it's bolted on the opposite side. Well, if that starts to lift and it takes away from the reading of that sensor, you end up with the problem that we're having right now. And there's just no way that I can know to get around it. I mean, I suppose I could probably take apart a brand new wheel bearing and grease underneath and around it, put it back together and put it on. But this is typical Midwest crap. So we're gonna get those 3 bolts on the backside, pull this wheel bearing off. This is a 36 millimeter nut here, and then on the backside, I think those are 15s. And you don't have to pull the CV axle out for this, which is good. You can work your way around it. So anyway, here we go. Back at it again. All right, so they tell you, they do send an instruction sheet with these things now, but I mean, it should be pretty common sense. Clean up your mating surfaces. I always put a little bit of Tin Man sauce on here. And I'll smear it around with my finger. That way I can take it everywhere I go with me for the next 12 hours. I'm going to go ahead and put some on the inside here also, so the bearing doesn't seize inside of the hub, because that is always a nasty. I've cleaned up in there with a little wire brush also. Put a little anti-seize on your splines of your CV axle. because I guarantee, for some reason, these things always go out. So we'll go ahead and do this number. Get a little on there. I mean, if a little is good, a lot's got to be better, right? That's how I kind of go. And then, so we've got all that. Everybody's happy. And then we'll put this thing back together. Now, I do kind of want to say, ooh, I just changed from copper to silver. I think it's just the nature of the beast on these things. You can kind of see, well, maybe not. You can kind of see where it can rust in there, and then rust jack, lift that up. I don't know. I hate doing these things, but I do it like once every 3 years, which just happens to be when the warranty runs out. But let's toss her back together. So I give you guys an option. You want to watch me put this together in real time, or do you want me to show you exactly what we just did in reverse? That would be fun. See if you guys can tell the difference. I bet you can. You're smart viewers. Okay, so now we'll get this wire out of here. Lift it up. There we go. I don't want to pinch it. And then we'll put our bolts in from the back, and I'll bring you back as we get a little bit closer. Well, as we're getting closer, I'll give you a little tech tip on these caliper mounting brackets and these things that they're calling abutment clips. Yeah, abutment clips. I never knew that was what they were called in all these years. Well, at any rate, these things are spring-loaded like a son of a gun, and that's to keep the pad quiet, keep it from, shifting back and forth, vibrating, howling, doing all the stupid things that it can possibly do. Since those things are really hung out there like that, it makes it a whole lot easier to take this mounting bracket off and insert the pads from the inside so that they both push down as they come out, instead of trying to load them from the outside and keep these little dooflangies down and captured. So there's a tech tip for you. And as always, clean up your brackets before you put these on. Get them, wire brush them, whatever. Get them free from all the brake dust. And check for proper operation of your slides. If they're stuck, get a new caliper bracket if you can't get them out. And then always properly lubricate them. So let me get these pads in here and we'll keep on rolling. Well, here we are. We're closing in on the final scenes. Got the caliper bracket on, loaded with new pads. About to put the caliper on itself. And then the wheel. So, not a bad job. I mean, it'd take you, what is it now? I don't know, noon maybe? It'd take you about an hour. I mean, especially if you're doing pads on both sides and stuff like that. But, I mean, really, not a bad gig. And then we'll put tires on and we'll see if we solved it. All right, my friends. Don't have my microphone. I don't know where it went. So I'll talk a little louder. But as we cruise into the sunset like Don Quixote and his noble steed, let's take a look to see if we fixed the issue. We're showing about 55 mile an hour there. Showing about the same here. Let's slow down and see if we've got her knocked out here. We'll be quiet. Oh man, that's so nice. We can accelerate. Wonderful. No lights on in the dash. I say we won, which is a great thing. You know, some days you just gotta put your mind to it. Take a few hours, set to the side, go fix your vehicle if that's what you are into. If it's not what you're into, pay the dealership or a trusted mechanic. But at any rate, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Friday on the Hold Project.